Hello, viewers. My name is Joshua Balinda. My brother here is James Imani. Our topic for the day is self-acceptance. So, my brother James,
Yes.
looking at the topic of the day, what do you have to say?
Now, the perfect Bible verse that fits this topic comes from the book of Psalms, which actually says, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. When you accept yourself as God created you, that's now what is called self acceptance. In one of our episodes, we talked about self identity, knowing who you are and where you came from. It was very clear and evident that you are in the image and likeness of God. You are like God, and your potential and abilities and how you're made is special. But the challenge we have is that most people do not know that they are fearfully and wonderfully made. I want you to imagine God taking his time to create you, not like a tree. A tree, he was just speaking. He would speak and it happens. But when it comes to a human being, he took his time. Artistically, he made you. In our differences, there's still a lot of things that we have in common. All of us together, we are in the image of God. Be it black, white, Indian, Chinese, whichever race, there is no race that is superior to another race. There's no tribe that is superior to another tribe. There is no gender that is superior to another gender. God created us all fearfully and perfectly for a reason, because each person has a role and a function.
Thank you, James. Just to top up, I like it that you've talked about the creation story. Looking in Genesis, we see that we have been created out of God's image. To me, I see that God has already set the standard. God has already set the standard, and it is us today that are lowering the standard.
Yes.
God has already set the standard very high, beyond even what we can expect, because we are coming out of the Creator, the Alpha and Omega. It is either that you're going to start valuing yourself today. You've been brought into this world for a purpose. Just like look at your fingers. Every part on your finger, if you look at it, the short one, the long one, they are all important. Without this one, all these ones will not be able to what? To function. So you're important as well. You're beautiful, you're handsome, you're highly valued by God.
God gave us what we call identity. Now, what the devil does, he always attacks what God creates. What God values is what the devil attacks. So, since we are in the image and likeness of God, now the devil attacks our identity. The attack on you is on identity. Now, the devil will use many things. He will use media, social media, press. But all these things is to make you deny and not accept yourself just the way God created you. Beauty is not a one shoe fits all thing. What you might see as beautiful, someone else might see as ugly. So what you see as beauty, it basically lies in the hands of the beholder. But the greatest beholder in this situation is God. Because if you're tall, if you're short, if you're thin, if you're whichever way you are, that's how you are perfect to God. There's nothing you lack. A human being has no right to validate your worthiness. And for those people who are differently able, you have to accept yourself as you are, because in Romans 8:28, it says, for all things work together for the good. In everything, there is a purpose. You have to accept yourself as you are, and then life will make meaning. Whichever condition you have that might not seem natural to the human being, remember you're in the image and likeness of God. That means your spirit, you're not even your body. So you have to accept yourself as you are, basically.
Thank you, James, for enlightening on that. I also believe, going back to what we spoke about in the beginning, that we are created out of God's image. It should give us hope, and it should also help us to become contented with where we are, what we are, and what we have become. In that way, we are going to find our purpose. We are going to fully exercise and use whatever potential God has inserted in us. Each time you start belittling yourself, you're instead lowering the standards, and yet God has already set the standards high. I want to give you hope today, whoever is watching, that you're very important in whatever capacity you are, and it is your duty to pick up yourself and go ahead and do what God has called you for.
Yeah. You do not need to bleach your skin. You do not need to wear fake hair. You do not need to artificially change your body and have fake breasts and fake hips. You do not need to dress a certain way for you to feel important or accepted. Accept yourself as you are. You do not need to have a PhD to be considered important. You do not need to come from a certain class or know who is who for you to be important. You are already complete, fearfully and wonderfully made. Complete. You lack nothing. There is nothing extra that you need that needs to make you better. All you need to do is maintain yourself as God made you. Love yourself as you are. To God, that's the most important. And this will help you from things like depression, competition, low self-esteem issues, even addiction. Drug addiction and all addictions are caused because people are stressed by who they are and the conditions they are in. The most important thing, work from where you are to become the best version of yourself each day.
You're highly valued by God.
Yes.
God loves you. God loves us all.
You are special.